So it is kind of frustrating. It's like they fall asleep in the sun talking to each other, and I think that's so cute. I'm from New Jersey, but I don't pronounce it to the world at every chance I get. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah. So it is getting to be summer. It is June, July, August. Those are the summer months for me. So I figured we would start reading some summer books. I have a ton on my list that I want to read. I'm just gonna follow along during this week and see what we get to. I really want to read a lot of summer books. I am so in the mood right now for summer romances. And the first one is actually an older one. It's Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. This actually came out last year. It is her second book. I read it every summer after, and I really like that. A lot of people said that it was similar to Love in Other Words, but I actually read it before Love in Other Words, and I do like Love in Other Words a little bit better. So I started this book last year when I was on a trip. I only got a couple chapters in. I kind of DNF'd it after that. It just wasn't really capturing my attention. It wasn't getting like great reviews because it was right when it first came out. It wasn't getting great reviews, so it kind of put me off of it. So I DNF'd it then. I only got a few chapters in, so I figured I would try again this time. So we're just gonna start all over again. This book is about Fern Brookbanks. Her life doesn't look how she once imagined it, and the whole story with her is that she met someone named Will. I think it was like 10 years ago? Yeah, 10 years ago. In June, and it's actually June right now, so that's perfect. They had like only one day together, but it was apparently amazing. And they agreed to meet up 1 year later at this lake that Fern's mom owns a hotel on. And they agreed to meet it up, and Fern showed, but he did not in that next year. So now it's been 9 years since that happened, and they meet again. And I'm guessing it's gonna be like, oh, where were you? What happened? I waited for you type thing. And it's gonna be a past and present perspective. So yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. I don't know, a nice little summary read. I haven't read any summer books, so this is a summary book, and I feel like because it's a summary book, I am going to love it. That is the first book we are going to be starting.
Kid again. Hard to swallow rainbow ice cream, knowing it's just vanilla flavored. You tell me that you'll be here when the summer starts to fade away. Cross my heart up to die.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a new day. I am in all orange also. It's a little bit giving Halloween, but I'm going more for sunset. I'm now on page 96, which is chapter 9. Thoughts so far, it's okay. I mean, it's not super holding my attention. I like pick it up in between doing things, and then I like read a chapter, then I do something else, read a chapter, then do something else, but I'm not like super into it right now. So it's told in like past and present point of view. I think that the past point of view like frustrates me a little bit. The past point of view is told in Toronto, which I do like about that because they're like traveling around Toronto, seeing the sights before Fern has to go back to the lake. I went to Toronto, so the places that they're going I'm like picturing in my mind, which I think is really cool. But the issue is that they're both in relationships. So it is kind of frustrating being in Fern's point of view. Like, she's in a relationship, Will's in a relationship, they both know that the other is in a relationship, and they're still, her thoughts are just like not thoughts that you would have for someone when you're in a relationship, like someone else, you know? It's not really cheating because they're not doing anything physically yet. It's like emotional cheating. I don't know. That part I can't really get behind. It's like they both have relationships, so what are you doing with the other person? So that past point of view is like a good and bad because I like them traveling around Toronto. I like seeing the sights through their eyes that I know that I've seen, but you're not really like rooting for them. The present point of view is when Fern and Will are at the resort. Fern's mom passed, so she passed down the resort and also all of the resort's problems to Fern, and Fern never really wanted to own the resort. She wants to go back to own a coffee shop in the city. Like, she doesn't really want to own like a little, it's not really little, but it's like a lakefront resort. That's not really what her goal is in life. She's also trying to see like why Will didn't show up all those years ago, and Will's kind of like avoiding the subject. Fern is also kind of avoiding Will, so it's like nothing's really getting resolved. So that part is like why I think it's a little bit slow. Also, it keeps reminding me of Beach Read. I remember feeling this with Every Summer After. It reminded me of Love in Other Words. So I read Every Summer After before I read Love in Other Words. So I didn't have in my mind that it was like Love in Other Words, but when I read Love in Other Words and liked Love in Other Words like so much more than I liked Every Summer After, I could definitely see very much sort of like inspired from that book, it seems like. This book is not really like Beach Read because I read Beach Read by Emily Henry a little bit ago. I remember that there was two authors that were neighbors at a lake, and that's basically what's happening here. They're neighbors at a lake and they have this like past. I do feel like that Carly Fortune does get some inspiration from other authors. The lake vibes is definitely summery, but yeah, it's just like I'm like very like lukewarm on it right now. Let's see if it gets a little better.
Know that you can't be making any promises. You keep changing up your mind like a spin the bottle, playing hide and seek with all your problems. And I've been losing sleep 'cause you promised no take back. Wearing my heart like a Boy Scout badge, but it's barely hanging by a thread.
I feel like I never film in front of my desk. That's because it's not very exciting behind me. I was just doing some work and I figured why not update you on our reading. We are on chapter 21, page 237. I think we're like 70% of the way through. Still kind of feel the same way where I am not totally liking their past selves. I feel like it would be so much better if they both weren't in a relationship. Like, it's just the way to describe the past and all of like the scenes, I guess, of them in the past would be so good if they weren't both in a relationship because it's so cute. But in the back of my head, I'm like, you guys shouldn't be doing this. You're in a relationship. Referring to the present point of view, I am liking that. I really love the setting of the lake. I remember days when I was just in like a lake resort or something like that, kayaking and looking out at the lake, sitting on the dock, things like that. Like, I remember when I was a kid and I used to stay at my friend's lake house, or even when I went on vacation, it just feels like a vacation book. I like the setting a lot. Will and Fern, I also like in the present perspective. I feel like their chemistry is so there, and you know, Will was all like button up and professional, and you see him sort of unwind and stuff and relax around her, which I think is really nice. Fern is making decisions about whether or not she wants to sell the resort or keep the resort, so she is battling with that, struggling with that. Will is there to help her. I think he's a consultant, so like he helps her decide what they would need to do if she wanted to keep the resort, and also what they need to do if she wanted to sell the resort. So they had like a working relationship, but they also, you know, have this past, and it's always just like that tension is always there. Specifically Mackinac Island. For some reason, it's reminding me of when I was in Mackinac Island. That's where we're at.
Float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee. Cross my heart, hope to die, but I know if we tried it, honey, we could be so sweet. You keep changing up your mind like spin the bottle, playing hide and seek with all your problems. And I've been losing sleep 'cause you promised no take backs. Everything was golden back in August, Russian roulette with being honest. Remember when you said this is what you wanted, no take backs.
I've just realized I'm kind of matching my books today, which I think is a fun thing I didn't mean to plan. Welcome to a new day, completely. I ended up finishing Meet Me at the Lake. I think I'm gonna land on a 3.75 with this book. It gave me all of the summer feelings, which is what this video is all about. Definitely a great beach read or lake read in this case. Fun and easy to read. I think what really held it back for me was I didn't love the past perspective. Both had relationships. It's just kind of not talked about much. You know, it's like alluded to, like, oh, we shouldn't be doing this, but it's seen as sort of like a romantic forbidden love when it's just like, no, you're actually just cheating. I can't get behind them in that, but I did really enjoy the present perspective where Will and Fern are older and they are at the Brookbanks Resort and they're getting to re-know each other and do things that they were supposed to do a while ago when Will never showed up, and we get his reasoning for why he didn't. And this is also a me problem, but I kept comparing it to books. Like Harley Fortune gets inspiration from other books, which is fine. Everything's a remix. There's a reason why there's tropes. It's a remix of the trope. Something about this author is just very more apparent to me. That's Meet Me at the Lake. And then I actually started Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I'm on chapter 10, page 97. This book is so cute. Hold on, let me bring you a little bit closer. I am like thoroughly enjoying this book. I was reading it this morning and literally just like kicking my feet laughing because it was just so cute. And this is, I don't remember if this is how I felt with Icebreaker, but something about the summer camp setting is so nostalgic for me. It reminds me a lot of my college experience because, you know, these guys are in college and they're camp counselors at a summer camp. But in my college, we were going to be freshmen. They had a whole bunch of freshmen, that maybe like 100, that could participate in this like outdoor adventure type program where we did like the icebreakers. We did the exact icebreakers they're talking about, and it was that thing of like meeting someone new and like you're in college. It was just so fun and like the best start to my college. We just met so many new people. I had made so many friends, and by the time we got to college, it was just like I already had these friends. So it is very nostalgic for me to be thinking about that. Let me go back. Russ and Aurora, which people call her Rory, which I think is very cute, but they met at a party. They had like a one night stand type thing. Russ was super sweet to her, but there was nothing else that like came about from it. And now they're just seeing each other again for the first time, and they're camp counselors and they're gonna be stuck with each other for the next couple weeks, few months maybe. They're still in the phase where like we're not talking about it because it was one night stand and we both don't care. But like, you know, there's like we like each other type thing, but they're not telling the other person. But it's cute. It is cute. And they both have like difficulties with their parents. We don't know too much about it, but with their dads, I believe. Rory's dad is a famous race car driver, but he doesn't really care about her. He left their family and started a new family basically, so that's like Rory's weird daddy issues. And then Russ also has a dad who is I think he's a chronic gambler, and he is always asking Russ for money. So they both have like daddy issues. That's something they can relate on. That is my updates. Let's go read some more of Wildfire. I do have shorts on, by the way. Just felt like I had to say that.
Been to California.
Russ is just so cute. He's part of the hockey team that Nathan from Icebreaker is a part of. So like the hockey players are in this book as well, and he's just like an innocent little adorable. I love it.
Never been to LA, so I'll stay home and write these songs, pretend I'll make it someday. Our friends are getting married.
Hello everyone. I wanted to update you on Wildfire. Welcome to a new day. We have made some progress on our Wildfire. I am really liking this book. I feel like I like this book better than Icebreaker, but I just feel like the camp setting is so much fun. I feel like Hannah Grace does a good job at fleshing out her two characters in this book. Russ and Aurora, like their, I guess, reasons for doing things is very clear based on the things that we're told about them, based on the past experiences that we're told they have had. A lot of their behaviors are making sense, where it's like, yeah, that seems like something they would do based on their circumstances, you know? That it makes the characters feel more real, and I love when a book can do that. Again, I love the camp setting. It's so fun. There's like a couple best friends in this that they meet at camp. I can just picture it so clear, like roasting marshmallows and making s'mores and doing, you know, camp games and everything like that. There's these 3 dogs that are running around that make appearances, and that's also a lot of fun because it's a good setting because they have a lot of like romantic type settings. It's like they fall asleep in the sun talking to each other, and I feel like that's so cute. We got to know more about Aurora and Russ's family, and they are opening up to each other about it. I think the character of Aurora is very fun. She is like that classic girl who hides her pain, pastes on a smile whenever she says something that is like not happy. She's like trained herself to just like fake it, and Russ sees that like right away from her, and he's like the one that she can like be real with and feel like she doesn't have to pretend. They balance each other out very well, but Russ is this like quiet guy, doesn't say much, doesn't tell people about his life very much, and Aurora is a typical oversharer. She makes him feel like he can be more open. He makes her feel like she shouldn't be ashamed of the parts of herself that she's grown to be ashamed of. I like the couple together. I do. There's no fraternization with other counselors, so it's like low-key forbidden, but they have that like forced proximity element of being camp counselors at the same camp in the same group. Like this one quote I feel like I can relate to so hard being in college, honestly. It says, "Spending all your time with a group of people in an isolated place makes everything feel bigger and more intense, even after only a short time, and I know that's only going to increase as time goes on." Again, because I mentioned like I was part of that like outdoor retreat thing in college, but also just being in college, like that is a feeling that I feel like anyone who has lived on campus and been around like their friends that they met a month ago but now they're like inseparable can understand that feeling. And I like that they're in this setting because it makes sense. Like it makes sense that they'll be having big emotions here because it's at camp and it's like that isolated place, exactly what that quote said. I know it made the relationship make more sense to me, where it's like sometimes I feel like, okay, you're obsessed with her and you only met her like a week ago, excuse me, but at the camp it's only been a month and they've already made like such big strides in their relationship, but it feels natural. Hopefully I can finish it today, and then we'll move on to our 3rd book.
They're all settling down, so I lay here, watch the ceiling fan go round and round. And it's always gone too fast, like a trip to the beach or the life of James Dean. It kills me to think I'm avoiding the pill I can't swallow.
Good morning. We just got to our 3rd act conflict, I think, and Luna's running around. Yeah, I think it's like, I feel, oh, I have Hogwarts Legacy on, so that's what that sound is. Don't know how to feel about it. On the one hand, I feel like it is like a little bit of a cop-out. I just feel, not a cop-out, but it just seems like a silly reason. Maybe we'll get more explanation as I read on. I feel like it's definitely something that can very easily work out. I don't know. We'll see. Like, I feel like it's not a big deal, and he's making it a bigger deal than it actually is. This is like the first thing where I feel like it loosely aligns with his character.
Haven't seen my twin brother, I keep missing his calls. It's funny just how easily a family can drift apart. I'm finally getting married to an angel in human form, but I still think about Nashville. Was staying here the right call?
Hello. Get my pants. says down bad crying at the gym. I love them. And my battery is flashing. Why is my battery flashing? I literally just turned you on. Little update. I finished Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I really liked it. I feel like I gave it like a solid 4 stars. I feel like I give a lot of books a solid 4 stars, but like 4 stars for me is like I had a fun time reading it. I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the story, and I enjoyed the setting. This book hit all those marks. So I'm gonna say 4 stars. I really liked the atmospheric setting of the summer camp, and I thought that was so much fun. I like the setting of Icebreaker, but it was set on a college campus, and I feel like I read a lot of books that are set on a college campus. So reading a book that's set in a summer camp as camp counselors, like they're the camp counselors, I feel like was really fun to switch up. There was that like forbidden element of you can't fraternize with the other counselors. Russ was trying to be so good and not do that, and Aurora respects that, but also she's a rule breaker, and she's been going to this camp since she was young. So she's like the big camp counselor who's our boss is like my sister, so she like is very light with the rules. Really fun dynamic. I really liked our side characters in this. Amelia is Rory's best friend. Is it Xander? Xander. Xander was Russ's like best camp friend, and they just had a really fun dynamic of they didn't like each other and they couldn't stand each other, and it was hilarious because again it was nostalgic to me. It was like that summer camp feeling, that being in college type feeling. Things happen a lot faster and feel a lot more serious with the people you meet than if you were just out in your regular life because you're so isolated. And I feel like that element of this made the relationship make more sense to me. Like sometimes I feel like in contemporary romance books, the romance feels like not rushed, but unrealistically fast. Like you're falling in love and you're absolutely head over heels over someone in 2 months. Like I know that could happen, but it's like I just feel like that's not how a lot of college kids act. So when I'm reading about college kids like that, I'm like, okay, come on. But this made a lot more sense because it was in that like secluded, isolated setting, and things are more intense and more serious when you're in that type of setting. And they had a lot more, you know, like stolen moments, and they got a lot closer to each other in that amount of time, which I think was really cool. There was like, of course, like the third act conflict was a little bit silly, where I was like, kind of made sense knowing where the characters came from, but I also feel like it was kind of exaggerated more than it would have actually happened based on what the characters had shown me to be what they would do in the other situations throughout the book. So that's why it's not like a total 5 stars, but I really did enjoy this book. Actually started The Summer After You and Me by Jennifer Salvato I feel like a very pink theme going on here. It's okay. I'm on chapter 10, page 81. I feel like it's a YA book, and I also was in the process of reading another YA like dystopian series in between like all these books, and I feel like that I would blame this on being a YA book, but that YA book that I read was so much better than this one seems to me, so I can't blame it on it being a YA book. But I just don't relate. I don't know, I'm not connecting to the story or the characters really, and I'm 81 pages in. I'm still gonna keep going because it's like a fun atmospheric at the beach setting. I was right. This is basically Seaside Heights after Hurricane Sandy, when that hit, about a girl who grew up in Seaside Heights. And I'm from New Jersey. I've lived in New Jersey my entire life, and I remember Sandy, and I've been to the shore and everything like that. Lived 15 minutes away from it growing up. I never talked about things like they talk about things, like this character talks about things. Like, meaning this author, I'm sure, is from New Jersey, or she is like telling you at every single chapter, like New Jersey slang and things that only New Jersey people would relate to. And it's like, I know what she's talking about, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It's just a little bit cringy to me because it's just like, no one who actually lives in New Jersey talks like that. She mentions like the Bennies, which is, you know, tourists, and she mentions that a lot. Going down to Island State Park and things about the different creatures that live there, and Brothers Pizza. I passed the arcades, Brothers Pizza, and the Bon Jovi stage, where my parents constantly reminded us the video for In and Out of Love was shot. Like, she mentions all these like New Jersey buzzwords basically, and it's like, I don't know, it's a little bit cringy to me because I'm just like, I'm from New Jersey, but I don't pronounce it to the world at every chance I get by saying New Jersey slang and buzzwords for New Jersey, you know? And I think that might just be a me thing, but it makes it hard to read because she does that all the time. And I'm just like, I know you're trying to be relatable and be like, this is what's on the Jersey Shore, but it's just like, it's okay. I kind of appreciate when books are like, yes, this is the setting, but that's not the whole book. Like the romance is there. It's just a lot of different like atmospheric things of like saying like you're on the Jersey Shore. It's just like odd to me. I don't know how else to describe that. I don't know if I described that even well. It's not told in a past and present timeline, but the whole thing is that the summer after You and Me. So last summer, the two main characters, Lucy and Connor, like had a fling or whatever, and now it's the summer after when things are all different and they don't feel that way. And like I feel like I appreciate it more when it's like happy place, like Emily Henry, where it's like she has a chapter of the past and a chapter of what's happening in real time, real life. I feel like I connect more to characters when things are told in that way instead of just like this is told completely in the present tense and it's just like referring to they had this amazing beautiful summer, but you're not showing it to me, you know, you're just telling me that it was amazing, but what about it was amazing? Like if I can't read the past perspective, then how am I supposed to, it doesn't come across as like this was amazing and unforgettable and this summer was amazing, but you're not telling me what made it so amazing, you know? So I think that that part also makes it a little bit frustrating for me. A few things going into this book, first impressions, that I'm just like but it is a fun summer read. It is shorter and I feel like I'm interested to see, like, you know, if they're ever gonna tell us some of the amazing things that happened in the past that made this relationship so unforgettable. I'm gonna keep reading it. We're gonna see if our opinions change, but yeah, that's how I feel at the moment.
And it's always gone too fast, like a trip to the beach or the life of James Dean, and it kills me to think I'm avoiding the pill I can't swallow.
Hello. I've read a decent amount since we last spoke. I'm on almost at chapter 20, so I only have like 100 pages left. But I have to say I am liking it a little bit more now. I am more invested in the story now. They're juniors in high school and they went to their junior prom. There was a situation going on with her boyfriend and longtime best friend Andrew. Connor came to the rescue. That's like our little love triangle. Why does it, I feel like every book that I read has the classic love triangle of The Summer I Turned Pretty. You know what I mean? The older, out of reach, secretive love interest that the main character has loved for all time. And then there's like the goofy, been my best friend forever, everyone loves him, sunshine character is the other love interest, which is so interesting because that is so completely what Andrew and Connor are. There are some decisions where I have to like realize like these are high schoolers, so I'm like, okay, I have to give them some grace because like, yeah, when I was a high schooler, I did not make the best decisions either if they do these like ridiculous things that I don't agree with. She's going through a particular hard, like rough patch right now with everyone in her life. Also, at the beginning of every chapter has these like little excerpts about sea life because it's like all about the like thesis she's writing and she's like super duper into sea life. Hi, I just finished The Summer After You and Me. I think I'm going to settle on a 2.75. Honestly, okay, this book had a lot of promise. The last few chapters were really good. I just wish we didn't have to wait for the last few chapters for me to be like, okay, this is really good. You know, for the first like up until 100 pages, I was considering DNFing this book. But I have a rule where I have to read at least 100 pages of any book and then I can decide if I want to DNF it, because sometimes if a book starts slow but picks up in the middle, like I feel like a lot of Lucy scores do that honestly. It starts really slow but then it picks up in the middle. So that's my rule, is I have to read 100 pages before DNFing a book. So up until page like 97, I was thinking about DNFing this book, and then it got slightly more interesting and then I decided to keep reading it, but it got really good the last few chapters. I just wish, again, that we didn't have to wait that long. I don't know if I would recommend this book to people, but it did give me the summer vibes that I was looking for in this video. An interesting sort of conclusion. I read Float by Kate Marchant last year, and I think that that's what this book was trying to be. I don't think that they like looked at that book and wanted to do that book, but I feel like that's like, Float is a really good coming of age, summery, romance, but also like friendship, like hardships book, and I feel like that book did it really well. This book I feel like had all those elements, but it didn't quite hit as hard. Like there was just something missing in every single one of the elements. I don't know. There's not too much else I want to say about this. Like I feel like I talked at length about this book, the most that I possibly could think of, because again, it was a 2.75. That does mean we can add it to our completed books. This is so aesthetically pleasing. This little book stack is beautifully aesthetically pleasing because it is all such similar pink and purple sunsetty shades, and I'm obsessed with it. Those were the books that I read this week to get me into the summer mood, and I feel like we definitely got there. I took this one to the beach, I took this one to the pool, and I took this one on a car ride with me. So I feel like I was able to get the summery vibes from all these books. I think Wildfire was definitely my favorite. I think I would definitely recommend reading this book 100%. If you want the summery vibe and also it's just a good book. Meet Me at the Lake, it's a very atmospheric read, and that's what I loved about it, but there were just some things like the main characters I couldn't quite get behind their decisions they were making. So I don't know about Meet Me at the Lake. And then The Summer After You and Me was like a YA, very heavily New Jersey based book that I'm just like, you can read if you don't have anything else to read at the beach, but it's not like something that I'm gonna think about probably for a long time after this. That concludes this summer week of reading in my life. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!